It's honestly pretty insane to me to think that I started doing photography literally a whole 10 years ago this month. Like I got my first DSLR camera this month 10 years ago, which is like it's just crazy. Like I'm getting old, I guess. I started photography when I was 18 and I am 28 now, if you didn't know. And yeah, when I was 18, I got out of high school and I didn't actually get into any colleges that I applied to straight out of high school. So I did have a gap year before I went to college. And during that gap year, I kind of fell in love with this photographer's work. Her name, I believe you pronounce it Rana, could be Rona, I'm not really sure, but her last name's Keller. And I'll put up some of her pictures. Like she has an Instagram account now, but I found her on DeviantArt actually, and I don't know, I just fell in love with her work and it made me want to start doing photography. Like any person should have been doing on their gap year before college. I should have spent that year working and saving money for school, but I worked and I saved money for a camera instead, and the first camera that I bought was my Canon T2i, which I used for many years. Like I think I used it for like 8 years before I transitioned over to this one, which is a 5D Mark IV. Yeah, I just wanted to take you guys through my journey of 10 years of photography. I just kind of wanted to show you where it all started and where we are now, because it's crazy. It's crazy stuff, really. I was looking at some of my pictures from like when I first started. It's like you don't even realize how much like things have changed until you really compare things. When I first got my camera, I pretty much just started taking pictures of anything and everything. The kind of photography that I enjoyed doing was self-portrait photography, because that's kind of what Rana was doing. And like she just like had this really emotive way of like telling stories like in her pictures, and like I wanted to do that too. So that's what I started doing. But really like my pictures were just like me just like doing like kind of just sitting in front of the camera doing like different stuff, and I only had a kit lens at the time, so yeah, it was just like me in front of the camera doing different stuff. And then eventually I did get a 50mm lens. Taylor, don't kill me for putting this photo in this video, but I specifically remember on the bus ride home from getting that lens, I shot this picture of Taylor and I was already in love with it, and I use it for so many photos still to this day. I'm not using it right now, but I actually normally would use it for like filming YouTube videos and stuff too. Also, if you guys didn't know, I got into photography way before I even started YouTube, so it's kind of just been like this big like spiral. And when I started photography, I started it because it was something that I wanted to do for me. It was just a creative thing that I wanted to do, and it was something that I never really planned on doing like as a job like whatsoever. Like I remember when I started, I was like, man, I am never taking pictures for other people, because like I just like would never be good enough, or like I just like my brain just was like, no, that's just not a thing. That's not a thing for me. That's not what I'm doing. Well, the first couple of years were very just like trial and error. I just shot pictures of anything and everything, and I did a couple of photo shoots with like my sister and like our friend Gina, and they were very like I didn't have Photoshop or Lightroom when I first started. I used this free software called GIMP. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just going for it, you know? And then I was 18 when I first got my camera, and a couple months later I turned 19. And when I turned 19, I did this thing called a 365 project. And basically what it is a lot of photographers were doing it at the time. It's basically you just take a photo every day for 365 days. And I did a lot on my camera, but I also like was going to school at the time too. So I did a lot like with my super cheap cell phone that like took like the worst pictures ever. So I'm not even gonna show you that, but I took 365 pictures, and it was like a really cool process for me. I feel like I learned a lot in that 365 days, and I actually wanted to do another one when I turned 29 to kind of contrast them, because I did started one when I was 19, and when I turned 29 I kind of want to do another one, but we'll see, because the girl is busy these days. Yeah, I learned a lot during that year. And also like while I was going to NSCC, I was taking pictures at like all these different like live shows and stuff, like not for money or anything, just because I wanted to. And then for our work term, I took our band photos, and some of my friends from school started asking me to take pictures for them. Like, and I wasn't charging anything at the time, because I was just like, I really don't know what I'm doing, like And then I think my first paid gig for photography was my uncle asked me to take pictures of his employees, because he used to own an insurance company. So I went into his work and I took pictures of his employees, and honestly, I think they didn't turn out that great. I was just still in the very beginning stages and still like learning about ISO and shutter speed and like exposure and like composition, and like there's just so many things that like even now I know that I still have so much more to learn. But yeah, I just kind of like took a couple years and just like started like shooting like myself more and more and more. I feel like there was kind of like a gap when I started getting into YouTube where I didn't really shoot self-portrait as much anymore. Yeah, there's like this gap in my brain where I'm just like, where was this gap? I'm not really sure. I do remember when I got out of college, the college I only did a 2-year program, I was still taking photos of myself then, like still doing self-portraits and stuff. But right at the end of college was when I started doing YouTube. So I think somewhere along the line, I kind of like my focus kind of went over to YouTube a little bit more than photography. But then after a while, I did kind of get back into it. And I think once I like got Instagram and I really like, I started seeing people do these creative Instagram accounts and stuff like that. That was when I started like really getting back into shooting self-portraits and stuff, because I was like, wow, people are doing this for Instagram. Like I want to do this for Instagram too. So I started doing stuff like that. Yeah, and then more and more I just kind of started taking pictures like of my friends, and eventually I purchased Lightroom, which was honestly, if you're using GIMP to edit, get Lightroom. It literally like changes the way you edit your photos forever. Like once you use like a better software for editing, it's just like, wow. Like I love Lightroom because it's like you can have these presets and like you can just like put like all the settings on all the photos instead of like doing it individually each time and having it turn out a little bit differently. And it's just like I feel like the software is just like so much easier to learn rather than some like random knockoff program, if you know what I mean. My buzzer's going because I am cooking chicken nuggets, so I'll be back and we'll continue this. I have secured the nugs. This was not meant to be a mukbang, so we're just gonna set them over here. Over the years, there definitely were some mediocre like photos for sure. There were like a couple that I really still like this one here. I feel like this one stands out in my mind as something that I like really, really liked. And there were a few photos that I really, really loved at the time, but now looking back, I'm just like, it's like okay. It's crazy to me to think that like something that I started as a hobby that I never ever thought I would do for other people has turned into a really large part of my job. And it's just something that I've learned a lot. Like I've learned so much over the years of just doing. I've never like taken any formal photography training at all. So it's just something that's like really interesting to like, I don't know, it just kind of blows my mind a little bit, the things that you can like learn just by doing. I've like shot weddings, I've done portraits, I've like, you know what, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And like each time I shoot, I learn a little bit more. I feel like it's just something that I'm going to continue to work on growing. And I'm not really sure what else I can really say, but I kind of just want to finish off the video with a montage going from like the beginning of my photography to like now, I guess. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy watching my journey through the last 10 years of photography. And if you like my photography, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I would love you so much for that. Let me know in the comments down below if you are into photography or if you want to try learning photography, if you want to just pick up a camera and start. Let me know, because that's literally what I did. I just wanted a camera, I bought one, and I learned from there. And now, like, I always had such a hard time calling myself a photographer, but like I feel like once I started doing weddings and stuff, I was like, I must be a photographer, you know? I feel like it's like an imposter syndrome kind of thing. But yeah, I was like, once I started shooting like weddings, I was like, people are asking me to shoot photos of their wedding, like their wedding photos. I must be a photographer now. Like that must qualify me in some type of way. I don't know. It's a crazy thing. It's really strange to me, honestly. Yeah, if you want to start, just do it, learn. There's so many different resources on the internet. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the montage.
Into your eyes, I see we're out of time. I guess no one's to blame, nobody crossed the line. I guess we couldn't see, somehow we couldn't feel. Maybe we rose too fast, maybe we got too high. But I remember days someone we're civilized. Beyond our separate ways as we fade into gray. But I still miss the way